All right, welcome. We are going to be working on a project today that allows you to practice some basic skills that you need to know and understand in order to interact with different tools in Photoshop. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is how to start a new project in Photoshop. If this is your first time doing a Photoshop project, then this might be new to you. If it's not, then you may know this process already. But you're going to open your Photoshop program and start by clicking the new file or maybe a blue plus sign depending on which version your computer is running. Right away, we're going to go ahead and put in a title for our project. So this is our seasons project. So I'm going to put Rosato Seasons. And that's how you should do it as well, with either your first or last name and then seasons to indicate which project it is. The next thing we're going to do is set the size of our canvas that we're working on. You need to be careful because Photoshop will default into pixels, and you don't want pixels, you want to change it to inches. And for this project, we're going to choose a landscape orientation piece of paper sized project. So we're going to say 11 inches wide and 8.5 inches high. Okay. And then we can leave everything else the same right now and click create. And now we have this lovely canvas that we can work with. So what we're going to be creating today is a example of a project that shows off pictures you've taken to represent the 4 seasons. So instead of just taking those pictures and throwing them into Photoshop, we are going to use some tools of Photoshop to help arrange them and cut them into nice, clean, organized shapes. So the first thing that we're going to do is choose the shape that you want to use for your particular project. So this is going to be a creative choice that you make. Over here on the left-hand toolbar, towards the bottom, there is a shape tool, okay, or the rectangle tool. It's a lot of different shapes, okay? If I click and hold on this shape, I can see I've got rectangle, ellipse, which is going to give you ovals and circles, triangles, polygons, stars, lines, and custom shape. Let's start by looking at the custom shape tool. If I click custom shape, I can come up here to my top toolbar and I can see that it gives me some different options here. You're just going to leave it on shape. Leave everything alone for a second because what I want you to see is down here. There's this tiger for me. It may be a different shape for you, okay? You can choose wild animals. There's leaves and trees. We have boats and flowers, okay? Now, if I use one of these shape tools, it's going to essentially draw that shape. So I'm just going to choose this flower right here, and I can click and hold and drag, and it creates this flower, okay? So here I drew my flower. Now, this is where you get to customize and choose how difficult you make this project, okay? So you can use a custom shape like this, and it's going to be a little bit more challenging. Or you can use a basic shape. So I'm going to go back to my shape tools. I'm just going to choose rectangle. I'm going to click and I'm going to start to drag, and I can see that it's a rectangle, and if I move around, I can make it pretty much whatever shape rectangle I want it to be. But if I want it to be a perfect square or a perfect circle, I'm always going to hold the shift key on my keyboard, and watch what happens when I press shift. Okay, it snaps to a square, and then when I pull in and out, it changes just to an equal square every time. Okay, if I let go of shift, it's going to snap back to a rectangle, and then again with shift, here we go. Okay, so you have two options here. With your project, you are going to put 4 shapes on the page, and you are going to mask some images into those shapes to show us seasons. You can go very simple with a basic shape like this, a square, a triangle, a rectangle, circle, whatever it may be, something just super simple. Or you can choose the custom tool, okay, and you can add something different. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like in both ways, okay? One thing I do want to draw your attention to is if you are drawing a shape and that color has defaulted to white so that you cannot see your shape if you exit out of it, you're going to want to change the fill color, okay? Now you can do that either before you draw the shape or after you draw the shape. Up here at the top, I can see I've got fill, and if I click on fill, it changes it to white. I don't want white, so you can choose any color because once we're done, you're not gonna see the shape anymore, and you'll understand what I mean in just a second, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna make sure I'm on my rectangle shape, and because I want all of my shapes to be the same size, I'm just going to copy and paste this. So I'm gonna go copy, Control C, and then Control V to paste. So Control C as in cat, and Control V as in Victor, and then that will copy and paste it. I am going to go ahead and hit Control T, okay? T is transform. This allows me to quickly grab my shape and move it. Now you can see these pink lines popping up as I move. These are our guidelines, okay? This is showing me that I am perfectly even with the top and bottom, and I'm lined up in the center with this other square, okay? So I'm gonna drop it there, and then I'm going to hit enter to let go. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste again. Control C, Control V, Control T, as in train, and I'm going to drag it over here, make sure my guidelines are nice and even. I'm going to drop it and hit enter. Control C and Control V one more time, and Control T to drag and lock it into place. Okay, so here I have my 4 squares. This is kind of bugging me that the line in between the top and bottom is thinner than the line between the sides. I'm being a little crazy about it. I know. It's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my shapes, and I'm going to, or not my shapes, my layers. Okay, I apologize. These are my layers. I'm going to make sure I'm on one of my layers on this side, and I'm going to hold the shift button, and I'm going to, actually, I apologize. I told you wrong. Let go of that. Okay, I'll show you what I'm going to do. If you want to get multiple layers that are not next to each other, you're going to click on the one layer you want. You're going to hit the control button, and then you're going to click on the other layer. So you can see that I didn't select this layer that's in the middle because I used the control click. Now I'm going to hit Command or Control T again, and I can now move both of these at the same time. And so what I'm going to do is bring them closer together so that now all of my squares look like they are much more equal distance, okay? Now, the next thing that's bothering me is that they're not all in the middle of the page. So I'm gonna click and drag around all of them to get them all. Whoops. That happens, Control Z. Easy peasy. I'm gonna get all of them. Control T to move the whole thing. And now you can see those pink lines. When I get one across side to side and top to bottom, that tells me I'm in the center of the page. I'm going to let go and then put them down. So now I have my 4 shapes, okay? Now, what I want to show you is I am going to hide my squares. You don't have to do this. This is me showing if you want to next level step this up a little bit. If you don't want to use a basic square, okay? If you do want to use a basic square, ignore me or move on to the next part. Okay, I'm going to come back to that flower that I got earlier. I am going to drag my flower out. I like it right there, okay? I'm going to Control C, Control V, and Control T to move. And then once more, Control C, Control V, Control T to move. Now the problem is I'm running off the page now, okay? That's up to you. If you go to work on this project and you're like, oh, I don't want them equal distance apart, I want them to overlap. That is your prerogative, okay? You get to make that decision up. So I'm gonna make these kind of overlap like this, like we have a bouquet of seasons, okay? So I have my flowers here, okay? So I'm going to kind of work both of these at the same time. Again, you do not need to have two different styles of shapes. This is me showing you two options that you can go with, okay? You only need to have one style of shape. Okay, so I can turn my layers on and off with these eyeballs over here. You guys see where I'm clicking? Okay. The layers in this group are all my flowers. So I'm going to double click on the word group 2. I'm going to say flowers. And I'm going to hide my flowers. And then I'm going to click on group 1 and I'm going to say squares. And that's just going to help me while I'm working know which one that I'm clicking on. You don't have to do that, but if you need to change the name of a layer, it's very simple. You just click on the name that's already there. So if I wanted to change this one, I might say bottom right. That tells me that's the bottom right square. Bottom left. Top right. Top left. Okay. So I have my shapes. Now I want to start getting my pictures. Now, your pictures, you should have brought me your SD card. You should have downloaded your pictures from the shared folder, put them into a project folder on your desktop called Seasons, and they should be there for you, okay? I have my pictures here. I haven't named my folder. I'm sorry. That's a bad example, but I have my 4 seasons right here. So I'm going to start with my spring picture. And to add this photo to Photoshop, I'm simply going to drag it and drop it, okay? Now, don't panic when this happens because you're like, oh my gosh, where did this square go? And it's behind these squares and it's all messed up, and that's okay. That's what it's supposed to look like, okay? Now we're going to learn how to create a layer mask so that it clips your photo to be a specific shape, okay? Now, the thing about creating a clipping mask, because that is what we're making a clipping mask. You clip the picture to fit the shape. You want to make sure that your picture is directly above the layer that you want to clip it to. So if I drop it and it's up here, it's not going to work, okay? I want my very first top left rectangle to be my spring. So I'm going to put it directly above over here in the layers tab, okay? I'm going to control click this layer, and at the very bottom there's an option that says create clipping mask. I am going to click that button. Now when I do that, you can see that the layers change and it bumps this one over a little bit, gives you a little arrow showing, hey, I'm clipped down here. And if I hold over it, okay, it tells you this is a clipping mask. And now I can only see the portion of this flower picture that is available within the square. But I don't really like this view. I want to change the shape and the size a little bit. So I'm going to make sure that I'm active on my flower picture, and I'm going to hit Control T, and I am going to start to adjust this picture so that I see more of the picture that I want to see, okay? So let's say I like it right there. I'm going to hit Enter to let it go. You've got to be careful because if you click on this one and you try to change this shape, then what you're actually going to do is change the shape of the square and not the image. Okay, so when you're working with layers, you can't just click on another object on the screen and carry on. You have to make sure that you change the layer here as well. Okay, so now I have my spring picture. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to add in this picture. Now, this is my summer picture, but it's not in the right spot. So I'm going to click and hold, drag it above, and let it go. Now I can't see my square anymore and it's way too big, so let's go ahead and clip this to a mask. Control click, create clipping mask. Okay, now make sure you're on the sun or your summer picture, whatever it may be. You're going to transform, Control T, resize until it fits what you want, and then press Enter to put it down. We're going to continue this process adding our fall. Let's see, where do we want fall to go? You can choose if you want to go spring, summer, fall, winter, or spring, summer, fall, winter. That's your choice. It's a creative choice, I think. I'm going to put fall here. So I'm going to grab my fall picture, drop it in. I'm going to control click, create clipping mask, control T, bring it in. Let's see, find where I like it the most. Right, let's go with right there. I like that. And then I'm going to come down here to my bottom left, which doesn't have one yet, and I'm going to bring in my winter picture. Control click on the layer, create clipping mask, control T, resize it. I'm going to bring this one down a lot so you can see the coffee cup. Okay, so now we have our simple shapes with our pictures in them. Okay, if you are a person who is doing the more complicated shapes, I'm going to show you what that looks like now. If you want to stay with squares, hang tight. You can just watch, learn, or you can go ahead and fast forward to the next section. But I'm going to turn the squares off for a moment, turn my flowers back on. It is the same process, it's just with a different shape. So I'm going to start with my first. I'm going to drag the spring picture in again. Okay. I'm going to control click, create clipping mask, and now you can see the flower with the picture of the flower has been cut into the shape of the flower. So I'm going to control T, bring this down a little bit so you can see more of that picture behind it. Okay, so there's spring. I'm going to go quickly now, add the picture. Control click, create clipping mask. Control T, resize. I'm going to add fall. Control click, create clipping mask. I'm just going to leave that one there for now. And my last flower, I'm going to add my winter. Control click, create clipping mask. Control T, transform. And set it down. Okay, so this is a different version, okay, of the seasons. I put all the seasons in the shape of a flower. You can see that it's a little bit more artistic, but you have to be very careful that your pictures are still coming through, that you don't have any edges where your pictures are not going all the way out and filling the shape. So you've got two options. Keep it nice and simple, simple shapes, or make it your own and create it a little bit more creative. Okay, I'm going to turn my flowers back off for now, and I'm going to turn my squares back on. Okay. So what we're going to do now is add a colored background so that we can add some text to this as well. So I'm going to start by clicking on the background layer right here, okay? I'm going to come up to the very top menu at the top of the screen, and I'm going to click Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color. Okay, I'm going to click, just choose a random color because you're going to change it in a second anyways. I'm going to click OK. Obviously that's not orange, but what the color you're clicking is it creates a tag for it over here on the layers. Okay, so now you have this color bar that you can choose any color humanly known to mankind. Okay, you have all these colors, and then if you come over here and grab the little circle, you can lighten it, you can darken it. Okay, all right. I'm going to intentionally choose a color that I know I am not going to like because I want to show you how to change that color later. Okay, so click OK. And now I have my squares and I have my color. Now, if yours are still all open like this, that's fine. Just make sure that your color fill is underneath all of your other layers, but right above your background. And now we're going to look at using the text tool, okay? We're only going to look at 2 features of the text tool today, but it is over here on the left-hand side. So if I click and I hold, I have an option for horizontal type tool, which is how you normally type left to right across the screen. Then we also have our vertical type tool, which is going to type your words up and down. So as part of your project, you're going to be required to have words in both horizontal and vertical. So let's start with horizontal. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click and drag and make a text box, and I'm going to type spring. Okay. Now right now I'm not going to customize anything. I'm just going to put the font on the page, and then I'm going to show you how to adjust the font. I'm going to come back over here to my tool, choose vertical type tool, and you can see that now the cursor's on its side. So I'm going to click and I'm going to drag down this time instead of over, and I'm going to hit summer. Okay. Now these are in weird places for me. I don't like them. I'm going to show you how to fix that in just a second as well. I am going to go ahead and do winter, and I'm going to go horizontal again for fall or autumn, depending on what you'd like to put, okay? So now let's talk about customizing your font, okay? I'm going to start by customizing spring, so I'm going to click on the spring layer. If you are not on that font layer, it's not going to change it. Above your layers window, you will have properties, which allows you to change your font, okay? So I'm going to start by choosing a color. Now you can do all the same color fonts, you can do different color fonts. This is up to you, creative process. I'm just going to choose white. And here I can actually change the font style as well. And there are, I mean, just an incredible number of fonts, okay? You can change the size. Okay, I made it too big, that's why I can't see it anymore. So I'm going to hit Control Z. Okay, I made it smaller. Let's try 30 is good. I like 30. Okay. Now I'm going to click my layer and I'm going to change summer. I think I'm just going to go white on all my colors. But I think I might choose a different font for each season. So let's see. I'll go this one for summer. Now summer's really far out to the side for me, so you can Control T a text layer as well. So I'm going to Control T, I get that box, and now I can click and I can move it into place wherever I would like it compared to my box. I'm going to click on fall, change my color to white. I like this font for fall, but I would like it a little bit bigger. Okay. I'm going to Control T and move that into place where I want it. I think let's do corners. Corners feel good. Okay. And then winter. Oops, I'm going to change my color. Again, color choice is your choice. You choose. Okay. And for winter, let's see. That's cute, but I'm going to make it bigger. Too big. Let's step it back. Now, you'll notice with winter, the letters are super far apart, okay? If you look over here, you can change how far apart your letters are, okay? I'm going to actually bring them way closer together. There we go. I'm going to Control T and I'm going to bring this down to the bottom. And actually out to the side a little bit more. Okay, so now we have our fonts in place. Now, if you're a person who likes to keep things nice and organized over in your layers, okay, like this would bother me. It's so many layers, I have to scroll, I can't see everything. Then you can create groups, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to click on a layer of your font or your text, and then you're going to hold the Control button and click Well, actually, let's practice with the shift key. So if they're all right next to each other, click on one, hold shift, and then click on the last one. And you'll notice it picks up everything between the two that you clicked. And hit Control G as in giraffe. And when you hit Control G, it's going to put it into a group so that everything is nice and neat and you can actually open and close that folder. So I'm going to name this group text. Okay. Now I hate this purple. I want to get rid of this purple. Okay. I'm going to click on my purple and I'm going to double click where it says no mask selected. Okay. Actually, they changed that. I forgot. I apologize. Down here on the purple, you're going to double click that purple square. And when you do that, you can change. Okay. I'm going to pick a nice fall-y kind of color. Let's maybe go maroon. Ooh, I kind of like that burnt orange. I feel like that looks nice. Okay. I'm going to change it here. All right. So if you've done all of this, okay, then this is done. You can save this as an image and you can upload this. Now, really quick, if you've been following along with the flowers, I'm going to turn my squares off. I'm going to turn my flowers back on. Okay. Same premise. Okay. Now, obviously, my fonts are not in a good place. I need to move some of them. So I'm going to come back over here. Fall. We can move it a little bit. Control T. There we go. Summer. I'm going to grab summer and I'm going to bring summer right here. Spring is hiding, so I'm going to grab spring, set it right here. And winter obviously needs a little help. So Control T's all around. Okay. And now you could turn this in as your project. Okay. We're going to talk about, yes, there are ways to curve your font, but we're going to do that in a later video. All right. So this is what an example of a completed project would look like. Please remember that you need to both save it as a PSD file, okay? And then when you are ready to turn in your project, you are going to save a copy and change it to JPEG. Please only submit JPEGs to Schoology. I can't wait to see what you guys create.